Okay, welcome students. Welcome to the second module of the course on the environmental studies. Myself, Dr. Saurabh Chandra. I am in the Department of Public Administration, Assam Don Bosco University, Tapesia campus. In this module, we will deal with the natural resources, the different types of natural resources and their associated problems. For example, the forest resources, the water resources, the mineral resources, the food resources, the energy resources, and the land resources. We will also study the conservation of natural resources, which is a part of the sustainable development. Now, what are the natural resources? The natural resources are both living and non-living resources on land as well as in the ocean. The living resources includes forests, wildlife, and the creatures that are living in water or on land. The non-living resources are water in the rivers or under the ground, soil, and mineral deposits. Some of these resources are found in abundance, while others are found in limited quantities, and that too in some restricted parts of our land or the ocean. There are different types of natural resources. They may be the forest resources, water resources, mineral resources, food resources, energy resources, and the land resources. When we talk about the forest resources, with concern to India, our country, the total forest cover in India in the year 2022, as we have the data, is 7,13,789 square kilometers, which is 21.71% of the total geographical area. India has added 1,540 square kilometers of forest cover from 2019 to 2021. So this chart shows the spread of the forest. The forest cover is divided into three parts: very dense forest, moderately dense forest, then the open forest. Very dense forests are the land, all the land with tree canopy density of 70% and above. Moderate dense forest where all lands with tree canopy density of 40% to 70%, and open forest where all lands with tree canopy density of 10% to 40%. Then we have the water resources. Water, we know it is the most essential component of life. Our water resources are limited, though apparently water is available in everywhere in abundant quantity. There is a scarcity of usable quality of water in large parts of the world. Only 2.7% of the total water resources of the earth consist of fresh water, fit for drinking, irrigation, and such other purposes. Water flowing in the streams and rivers is only 0.0001% of the total water resources on the earth, which means only one bucket in 100,000 buckets. So freshwater lakes, they contain only 0.009% of total water. Groundwater up to a depth of about 150 meters accounts for only 0.625%. Water found in the frozen state as snow on the high mountains, which cannot be directly used, accounts for about 2.15%. The total volume of water found in the underground reservoirs, called aquifers, which can be pumped out, is estimated to be by 42.3 into 10% cubic meters, or which only a quarter is being used, and the rest can be utilized in the future for irrigation, industries, and homes, etc. This is the hydrogeological map of India. According to this map, you all can see the distribution of the water. This map shows that there are many regions of the country, such as the parts of the Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu, which have a low groundwater potential. That is, the amount of groundwater is in small quantity in these regions. From the map, we can see that water which is required for various purposes like the irrigation, like the navigation, generation of hydroelectricity, and domestic and industrial needs is rather scarce. It is therefore essential, it is necessary that water resources should be exploited judiciously. Now we come to the mineral resources. We all know that the minerals, the natural substances, they get out from the earth by mining. They are the backbone of our industries and hence of commercial and economic uses. Nowadays, minerals such as uranium are also found are also used for generating atomic energy as an alternative source of energy. A rare variety of minerals like coal, iron, copper, aluminium, petroleum, etc. are indispensable to meeting our day-to-day requirements. They have become very much necessary. We are very much dependent on petroleum. We know that for generating electricity, for other purposes. But the world stock of underground resources of this fuel is believed to be exhausting. This is the map which indicates the minerals in India. India is self-sufficient in 35 minerals, which are used as raw materials in basic industries. We have iron, we have aluminium, we have coal, which are in enough quantity, but for the requirements of phosphates, which are used in making fertilizers, crude oils, and minerals like the non-ferrous metals like copper, zinc, and lead, we are dependent to some extent on import from the foreign countries. Our mineral producing states such as Bihar, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Bengal, Gujarat, Rajasthan, and Andhra Pradesh. With the introduction of modern technology, now it is possible to locate the reserves of petroleum on the land as well as in the ocean. The satellites imaginaries, all these can help in finding out the deposits of the minerals which can be extracted out in the future. When we talk about the food resources, food is essential for growth and development of living organisms. These essential materials are called nutrients, and these nutrients are available from variety of animals and plants. There are thousands of edible plants and animals all over the world, out of which only about 3 dozen types constitute major food for humans. The majority of people obtain food from cultivated plants and, and domestic animals, although some foods are obtained from ocean and fresh water. But the great majority of the food for human population is obtained from traditional land-based agriculture of crops and livestock. This is the map which indicates the top 10 food grain producing states from the year 2016 to 2017. So you can see all these green areas which are very much good in producing the agricultural products. Now the energy resources. Energy, we all know, it is a non-conventional renewable source. The demand for energy doubles every 14 years and is taken as one of the indicators of development of a country. India, with 16% of the world's population, consumes only 1.5% of the total energy produced in the world. in comparison to USA, which has 6.25% of the world's population, and it utilizes 33% of the energy produced. This gives us idea of how low level of our development and should be an incentive to better utilization of our resources for generating more energy so that we can meet our growing demands of energy. Even today, about 60 to 80% of our population continue to depend on fuel wood, dung, and agricultural waste. We know that non-renewable reserves such as fossil fuels, coals, and petroleum are not going to last for long. Forests are also being depleted at a fast rate due to many reasons. Therefore, it has become necessary to think about the alternatives, think about the non-conventional sources of energy. For example, the solar energy, for example, the wind energy. These can be the good sources of energy for any country. For example, the wave and the tidal energy, where wave and tides are used to produce the energy. Then the geothermal energy, where the hot water is used to produce and the steam is used to produce the energy. Then the atomic energy, it also a great source of energy. Then the biogas. So these are the sources of energy. Now the land resources. Land, we all know, is a basic resource for us. It is in fact the foundation on which the entire ecological system rests, and it is the living around or habitat for all terrestrial plants and animals. The capability of land to support life and various activities of man and animal is dependent both on its biological productivity and load bearing capacity of the soil and rocks. Land is under great pressure due to increase in population. Our land mass, which was in 1901 inhabited by 238 million people, is now shared by more than 780 million people. Mismanagement of the land resources as a result of indiscriminate cutting of the trees and deforestation has caused considerable damage to the quality of the soil and the landscapes. Today, per capita land resources available in India is less than zero point 0.4 hectare, and it is presumed that with the present rate of population growth, it would be reduced to only 0.33 hectare by the end of 20th century. Thus, you can realize the magnitude of the pressure on our land resources. The next part of our module discusses the conservation of the natural resources. We all know that some natural resources are renewable while others are not. Also, these natural resources are not unlimited. Due to their growing demand, they are likely to get exhausted one day, and hence we should use them judiciously because they are the wealth of nature. There are many human activities which cause the degradation and the depletion of natural resources. The proper management based approach in accordance with the principle of sustainable use is required for the conservation of natural resources to make these resources last longer. There are some reasons why the conservation of natural resources is required. These reasons are overexploitation of natural resources, degradation and depletion of natural resources, like the land degradation, like the deforestation, like the soil erosion, water pollution, and the air pollution. All these reasons calls for the conservation of our natural resources, which are limited, which are not unlimited. The ultimate aim of conservation of the natural resources is to provide a sustainable future to our coming generations. The resource conservation, it involves using, managing and protecting resources so that they will be available on a sustainable basis for the present and future generation. This was all about the module 2. I hope, combined with the documents and the notes, this module will help you in understanding the topics discussed on the environmental studies. Thank you for listening.